Welcome back to the Against All Odds, the Less Than 1% Chance podcast with your host, Maria Ponte, where we will hear stories of incredible people thriving against all odds. And my hope is that we can all see how life is always happening for us, even when we are the less than 1% chance. Hey, welcome back to Against All Odds, the Less Than 1% Chance podcast with your host, Maria Aponte. I'm so excited because I have one of my very, very best friends on this episode. We are on episode 21, and first of all, holy heck, I cannot even believe it, but she is someone that I met through Body. It was one of those things, right? Let me set the stage a little bit. So she was one of the cool kids that I was like, oh my God, she's just so cool. And I'm like, I don't even know anyone here. And then her and my other friend that actually two of my other friends that were always just together. I was like, how can I just get into that group? I just love these girls. And I don't know how it happened, but I think it was like at a retreat or something, we connected and I'm like, oh my God, where have you been my entire life? Because I can't imagine life without you girls. And she is one of them.
That's so funny that you say that.
Her name is Erin Decker. We call her Decker because we have multiple Erins in our little friend group. She has such an incredible story of really dealing with a lot of health concerns and health issues and really pushing past those things on a mindset level versus just allowing everything that's happening happen to her. She figures out how to see it happening for her and taking control. So I really would love to give you the stage and just give us a little bit of background as to why I feel like your Against All Odds story is pretty powerful.
Okay, well, first of all, I just need to say, when you say part of the cool kids club, this is the funniest thing because that's never been me, ever, never been part of me, part of the cool kids club. That's always the group I wanted to be part of was part of the cool kids club. And so when I got to be part of this group in Body, that's what I feel like our group has just become. We're like the group that I just have always wanted to have. And so I'm just so grateful that I have gotten to know you through this community. And it's been such a blessing in my life. I feel like I've had health challenges since I was a teenager. I think the biggest one I remember as a teenager, I was on my high school soccer team and I had infection in my tooth. Like I just went in for a cavity and my parents got double dental insurance 2 weeks later. And so they're like, hey, let's fix it in 2 weeks when we can get double coverage. And in that 2 weeks, it went from just a cavity to a bad infection to where I needed a root canal, but it was so bad that I ended up on IV antibiotics for 6 weeks. And my mom's a nurse, so she traveled with us on a soccer trip to California, and I was doing IVs the whole time while I was on my soccer trip. So they'd wrap it up and I'd play my soccer game and then I'd come out and do my treatments. But this is how my body has worked my entire life. I've always something that would just be a normal little thing for somebody turns into something really big. And my immune system has just struggled. And I don't know, it's just been something I deal with. And I'm grateful it's not worse. A lot of people deal with way worse things, but this has just been something that it's just been my normal. The biggest challenge that I have dealt with, I think, has been when I had a 14-month-old baby and I was on all sorts of birth control because I had a lot of medical things going on and we didn't know what it was. I was covered in bruises, like head to toe covered in bruises. I looked like I'd been in a motorcycle accident. I had rash all over my body. They couldn't figure out what was going on. I was passing out just randomly. My heart rate was in the 180s and they just couldn't figure out what was going on with me. So I was on birth control so that I could not get pregnant. I was on 2 kinds of birth control and I found out I was pregnant. I remember my husband worked up the mountain as a ski patroller and I remember he left for work and I just had a feeling heartburn is my sign. Everyone has their sign.
Yep.
Heartburn is my sign. So I had heartburn. I was like, I'm just going to take the test. I found out I was pregnant. I called him and he's okay. And I could tell he was just really, what are we going to do? This is not what you can handle right now. And I'm like, I'm so excited. This is a good thing. I was so happy. And I remember I had to pick up my parents from the hospital that morning. They both had a colonoscopy it was their anniversary. They're like, let's go do a colonoscopy on our anniversary. It was just so funny. And I worked at the hospital too. So when I walked in, I was so excited. Like I was beaming, and all my coworkers, I was like telling everyone, I'm pregnant. And I was so happy. And I told my parents, and my mom's heart I could tell her heart just stopped and her face fell. And she's, we can't do this right now. And I'm like, this is a good thing, Mom. And my dad was like trying to chill her out. And it was 5 hours later, I was at home with just the baby, and I got a phone call that I had a biopsy the week before, and they said that it was malignant. And it was so interesting because as a nurse, just anyone, what the word malignant means, but I remember just sitting there, like thinking it over for a long time. And I don't even know how my mom figured it out or who called her, but she showed up at my house, and I had to work that night. I was on night shift and I went to work, and they ended up sending me home. I think I was just in shock.
Yeah.
So they sent me home, and I ended up having surgery the next week to remove the cancer. The first doctor we saw, I guess the week before, right? The next day. And he said, we needed to terminate the pregnancy. And I said,
What kind of cancer was it?
thyroid cancer.
Okay.
In my opinion, if you're going to get cancer, that's it. But still never a good thing. But he said we need to terminate the pregnancy because we needed to do treatment. And that just wasn't an option for us. I knew that if I was pregnant right now, there was a reason. There's no way I found out I was pregnant and had cancer the same day for no reason. So I'm like, no, that's not an option. So
I just got goosebumps from like head to toe.
they sent us to a perinatologist, and they said the same thing. We need to terminate the pregnancy and go ahead with treatment. And I said, that's not going to happen. So we found another doctor, just a general surgeon, and they said they would do the surgery and they would do it while I was pregnant, which is really high risk. But so when you go into surgery for thyroid cancer, they keep you under anesthesia, and they take out that one side, or this is how they used to do it. They took out the one side that had the tumor, and they go under pathology, and they told me it was not cancerous. So they didn't take out both sides of my thyroid. They said it's not cancerous. So I'm like, super, yay. So I was just very sick for the next 2 weeks, like could hardly get out of bed. I'm recovering from surgery. I'm pregnant. And the first day I got out of bed and we went ice fishing, like my family was getting ready, like it was New Year's Eve. We're all getting ready to go do this family activity. And I get a call from the doctor, and they're like, well, we sent it off to several specialists, and it all came back. It's 2 different types of cancer. So actually we do need to go back in and take out the other side. So we went back to the hospital that day, a couple hours later, and we did the other side. And from that moment, I got so sick, really sick. I think the 2 surgeries right at the beginning of pregnancy made it real tough on my body. And then having no thyroid sent my body into a really downward spiral. And anybody who's lived without a thyroid can tell you it's just really tough to get a normal hormone balance in your body after that. But then pregnancy complicated it a lot. And I spent the entire pregnancy pretty much in bed. And I was trying to take care of the baby and also trying to grow this human. And it was really tough. And my mom had, on the second surgery, she had this most beautiful picture when I came out of surgery. And it's a picture of Jesus holding a little baby. And everyone was so worried that the baby was not going to make it and that I would not be able to carry full term. And I looked at that picture with the baby, and I knew 100% that I was going to be able to carry full term. Yeah. I just knew, and there was no doubt in my mind. And so throughout the entire pregnancy, well, I was throwing up about 20, 25 times a day, and I was living on the bathroom floor. I had a PICC line because I just could not keep anything down. And I knew that the baby was going to be fine. And so throughout the whole thing, they would do ultrasounds, they would do checks. And I had no doubt in my mind. I was never worried. And my mom was scared to death. Seth was scared to death. And I just had no doubt. I knew that the baby was going to be okay. And I feel like that was just such a blessing. I have never been so just covered in a surety. It was just,
Yeah.
I was
And
blessed.
for those that don't know, what is a PICC line?
Oh, it's an IV that stays permanently. They just put it in and it goes central right into your heart, basically.
Okay. That is so powerful. The fact that it's just this calming feeling of, I just know that this is all going to work out and this is a miracle. There is a bigger purpose for this right
Yeah.
now, even when it literally is chaos and craziness and things that somebody would probably collapse
Yeah.
in dealing with. And you're just so sure of, this is meant to be the way it is right now.
Yeah. Well, we are a Harry Potter obsessed family. We love Harry Potter here. There are so many awesome life lessons in Harry Potter, but one of my very favorite moments in Harry Potter is they play the game of Quidditch, right? And so there's this one part where Ron, Harry's friend, is the goalie, and he has been struggling and he has not been doing well as the goalie. He's been missing all these things and he's feeling like an utter failure, and he thinks he's going to be kicked off the team, and he's just so defeated. And Harry has this one little potion bottle. It's called Felix Felicis potion, and it's the lucky potion. And when you drink this, everything goes right. Everything around you goes perfectly. And so Harry comes up to him before this game and he pours it into his drink. And so then Ron stands up and walks out and does the most amazing game of his life. And Harry shows Hermione after that the cap is still completely sealed, like it's never even been opened. But Ron thought that he had poured it in. He thought that he had it in him. And so just the thought of that made him so confident that everything went perfectly. Like he knew he could stop every ball that was coming near him. He knew that nothing could go wrong. And I think it's just that assurity. And that was one of my favorite moments, because I'm like, just knowing, just seeing the picture of it in your mind gives you that power of, I just think it's so beautiful. Just that, I don't know, that is like my favorite.
I love it. And I thankfully watched Harry Potter after 40 years of not. I finally watched it thanks to your insistence. And I love that because it's something that is already inside us, that all that certainty is already inside us, and we allow all of the thoughts and all the things to not let things be the way they are supposed to be and feel that assurance and all of that. And I feel like that picture maybe was just what you needed to just know that you have it inside you. It's all good. And Jesus has your back. You
Yep.
are in good hands.
Yep.
And through all of that, so walk people through that journey of being pregnant, obviously very, very sick, and dealing with all the things.
So pregnancy, obviously very rough. Taking care of our baby. Husband was in school. He was working, and just, I couldn't work anymore. I went back to work 2 weeks later and I passed out on top of a patient, and they're like, you can't work. And my doctors were like, you're on bed rest. So I could not work the rest of my pregnancy. I had only been a nurse for 6 months at this point. I was the one carrying the insurance. We lost insurance. We got into medical debt that lasted us 12 years from this pregnancy. And it was just a lot of weight that piled upon us. And honestly, I feel like being pregnant is something I love. I love being pregnant. And even
Me
when
too.
I'm so sick, I love being pregnant. And I feel like you can never be closer to heaven than you are when you're pregnant. Feeling that baby move inside of you is just such a gift. And I have never taken that lightly. I will take the throwing up. I will take the laying on the bathroom floor. I will take it any day. And it was terrible, but it was still a gift. And we did it. We got through the pregnancy. I was able to deliver a full-term, beautiful baby at 37 weeks. And then I nursed her for 3 months. And then I had to let my milk dry up for 3 months, because if you do radiation, when you have any milk in your ducts, you end up getting breast cancer. So I dried up for 3 months, and then I did the radioactive iodine treatment, which that was honestly probably the worst part of all of it, because I had to be in isolation for a week. And so I had to be separated from my 6-month-old baby and my 18-month-old for a week. Couldn't see them, couldn't be anywhere near them. And I honestly started to think I was a crazy person when I was in the room by myself, and you have to bleach after you use the bathroom, after you brush your teeth, after you shower, you have to bleach everything. And it was awful. That was terrible. But
That's crazy. So that was the treatment for the cancer.
yeah.
And did you do any other treatment?
Nope. I was very blessed. That's the only thing I did for that. And yep, we were good.
That's awesome. And then, so the complexities of the things that you go through sometimes just baffle me in so many ways. She's randomly, yeah, I have 8 ribs out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how are you functioning?
Yeah, I went to the chiropractor this morning, and your spine is twisted this way at one level and this way at the other level. Like, it's not supposed to do that. And I had 4 ribs out this morning, and that's actually really good for you. I'm like, yeah, that actually really is. And then my neck was twisted left at one level, right at the next level, and left at the next level. And I don't know how your head is upright right now. I don't know how you were holding your head up. I'm like, it's real painful. But I don't know. I have never been actually diagnosed with what is wrong with my musculoskeletal system. Nobody really knows. And I got sick of going to doctors and paying out thousands and thousands of dollars and never getting an answer. But I have very loose ligaments and very loose, everything just slips out very easily. And so I am a regular at chiropractic and massage, and anyone who can help me with this, I regularly go see people. And I am in pain most of the days of my life, but I am very grateful for this, the way we met with Body, because I hadn't been a regular exerciser since probably high school soccer. I had gone on phases of exercise, but it was only to lose baby weight. That's the only time I actually exercise, is when I wanted to lose baby weight. And then once I started exercising regularly as just a way, that was honestly what I was trying to do this time too, was trying to lose baby weight. And then I realized how that was a form of self-love. And I became so much healthier and so much stronger. And it has helped me stay sane through all the challenges. And for instance, right now, my back has been in a really bad state for the last 3 months, and I haven't been able to exercise. And so I've only been able to walk for the last month. And it's been very hard for me emotionally when I haven't been able to exercise. And I never thought I would be a person who would say that. Oh, I can't wait to exercise again. That I was like, yeah, those people are crazy. But it's been so helpful for me mentally, emotionally, to exercise and to feel like there's something in my control, because when so much does feel out of my control, it's nice to take what you can control. And so that's why going on the walks every day feels so nice, because it's something I can do. And it's, yeah, you just have to do what you can.
So and I haven't really done much like stories on how health journeys started and partner journeys started in the podcast itself. However, I absolutely love your story so much because you were like the biggest anti, this is not happening.
Yeah.
And I will buy things elsewhere just
Oh
to
yeah.
not have to do with any partner with the company.
Yeah.
So I would love to just hear your story.
Yeah. So when I started, was pregnant with my fourth, and I was very sick. With my first, I wasn't really sick, but after my thyroid was removed, my following pregnancies were very different. And I threw up the entire time. And I also gained a lot of weight. I lost a lot of weight and then I gained a lot of weight. And so with my fourth, I had lost 20 pounds in the first trimester and I was so, so sick. And so I had a PICC line again. I was getting IVs every day and I was just still losing weight and I couldn't maintain any weight. And so they decided I needed a feeding tube. And the whole experience of getting a feeding tube is so surreal. They are shoving a tube down your nose, into your throat, down through your stomach, into your small intestine. And so you're having something that touches the back of your throat constantly.
Ugh.
And so you're there for throwing up constantly. And then they're putting something on the back of your throat constantly. So you're just wanting to gag. And they're like, okay, you can't throw up or this will displace your tube. And I'm like,
Well,
you
what do you
know
want me
why
to
I'm here,
do?
right? Like you read your papers, right? It was just so bizarre. But it was December 20th when I had it put in. And so I hadn't done any Christmas shopping because I had been so sick. And so I remember right after I was like, we got to go get some Christmas presents for the kids. And my husband's, we can't. And I remember we were walking through a Kohl's. I was like, let's at least get them Christmas jammies. And we were walking through Kohl's and I was like,
Oh my gosh.
we have to leave. This is a problem.
This is not
It
gonna
was so
happen.
bad. But my friend brought me over a bag of Shakeology. And now knowing what it's worth, I am so grateful. But I was like, I don't need any of that diet drink. You know the situation I'm in. And she's like, this is not a diet drink. This is nutrition. And you need nutrition so badly. And I'm like, ew. But please just try it. And it was the first thing I did not throw up. And when they did tube feedings, it was like something freezing cold going down this tube, down my nose, down my throat, and into my stomach. It was so uncomfortable. It hurt so bad. And I would cramp. My stomach would cramp. And it was awful. So if I could drink something and it would settle in my stomach and I could maintain my weight, I could get rid of the feeding tubes. So that was my goal. So I did Shakeology and I just did like half of a scoop and did like small little ones so that I could just get something in and I didn't throw it up. So I was doing like 3 of those a day and I did it for 2 weeks. And I went to the doctor and they're like, you maintained your weight. You can pull the feeding tube. And I became a believer right then. I'm like, this is it. And so I used that the rest of my pregnancy. And then even while I was throwing up my whole pregnancy, I gained 70 pounds in that pregnancy. And this is a thyroid life. So I wanted to lose weight. And so I was doing their 21-day fix program. And so I ordered it off of Amazon because I'm like, I don't want anything to do with this company. My friend who gave it to me was like, do you want to order anything? I'm like, no. And so I was buying Shakeology off of eBay and I bought the
Oh
program
my
on
gosh.
Amazon. And I was like, I don't want anything to do with this company. They're going to make me sign up to be a member and I don't want to be a member that they're going to make me commit to anything and I don't want anyone to know about it. And so I was so weird about it, but I was very embarrassed about where my body was. I was 70 pounds heavier. And so I would wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and work out.
Who took your before picture?
My 3-year-old. I was so embarrassed. So she was 3.5 and it's very blurry. And I was very ashamed to be where I was. And now knowing what I know, I would never let anybody sit in those feelings where I was.
Yeah.
I would never let them sit there alone, because I know what it felt like to sit there alone for a long time. And I had felt like that about myself for a lot of years. And as I worked out with this 21-day fix program, the same like DVD, you get 7 workouts
that you repeat.
I did the same 7 workouts for 10 months and drank that Shakeology and used those little colored containers, and I lost 70 pounds. And so I knew their stuff worked, but I still didn't want to look at myself in the mirror. I still didn't want to let my husband touch my body. I still felt like,
you don't know her, but that is not a thing. They are, in terms of couples, they are goals. They are so absolutely in love and infatuated with each other. It is the cutest thing ever. So the fact that she says that, I'm like, no way, because husband Decker and Erin Decker are like, they can't keep their hands off each other. So to hear that, it just blows my mind, and it just shows how much she's grown over the years. And it's so cool. It's so cool. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, our marriage has just done a complete shift because of my confidence. Because when you don't feel good about yourself, you don't want to be intimate with somebody like in the same way. You don't want to be touched. And every time he would touch me, I was thinking, oh my gosh, he's touching my back fat, or he's thinking about this. And that's not what they're thinking about. Like, guys thinking boobs or whatever they're thinking about. They're not thinking about anything like that. But that's what I was so worried about. And I could not feel secure in who I was. And I don't know. I think that it took me changing before our relationship could change. And so I knew that I signed up finally for the discount with Shakeology, because I knew that if you signed up, you could get a discount, and I'm all about the discount. So once I started getting the coaching emails, they said something about personal development on there, and they sent a little blurb of personal development, and then they sent a link. And so I clicked on the link and I started doing some personal development, and I'm like, that's it. That's what's been missing. And I dove in head first. Like you can see back behind me, this whole shelf is books, like all books. And I have been obsessed with reading and listening to podcasts and anything I could do about just my own personal growth. And it has taken me, this is a never ending journey, right? It's not a destination. You don't just arrive at confidence. It's just, you continually evolve and you continually get to where you feel a little bit better about yourself. And then maybe you take a couple steps back when you hit a plateau, or you go through some health challenges and aren't able to work out, and your body goes through changes. And so you have to do some more work. And then you maybe have to do some more work when you get teenagers and you're struggling on how to tell them how to love themselves. And this is a continual journey, but I feel like that was the missing piece for me. And once I realized I can actually love the person I am at whatever stage I am at, and love who I am becoming, I wanted to be part of this community. And so I joined before I knew anything about. I became a coach as a soul island, and then I got adopted into this team that I am so grateful for, because I just wanted everyone to know how good it could feel when you did all these things, because I was already doing all these things, but in little pieces, I figured it out. So I'm like, if we offer all of this together to somebody, if we offer all of this as like one big package to somebody right when they start, and it doesn't take them years and years to figure all this out, why would I not tell everybody this? Why would I not share this with people? So coaching was just a natural evolution for me. So I don't know, it's been a very huge blessing. And I was working 90 miles away from where I live, traveling back and forth as a nurse. And I had a special needs baby who I was trying to take care of. I was trying to homeschool my kids. It happened at the perfect moment where I was able to quit my job as a nurse and work from home doing this instead. And it worked out so beautifully for my life. So
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And now I feel like it's even evolved from, as a coach or partner, you get the piece of personal development and mindset. Now it's like everyone gets it. And
yeah,
I think it's so
yeah,
powerful and amazing. It all starts with the mindset. So we have now the master classes that offer that piece of it. We have meditations that offers that piece of it. It now, with all the changes with Growth Day and Brendan Burchard, it's literally giving this to all the people. And you start from the beginning with the mindset piece of it. It
yeah,
is so, so important, because if you could, like you said, you could do the workouts, you could lose the weight, you could eat right, but if you don't feel okay inside,
mm-hmm.
it's like body dysmorphia, right? It's being something and seeing something completely different.
Right,
And it's so powerful when you can learn how to evolve as a person in all of this. And
right.
I love your story so, so much. It's crazy the stories we tell ourselves.
Yeah,
And there was a group that could support you in all of this, and
yeah,
you chose differently, which didn't deter you from having the results, but it could have been so much more from the beginning. And it's so cool to see the way that, like, we evolve as people, as all these things just come into our lives. And so if there was one thing that you could tell Erin back then, or one thing that you could say that was your biggest lesson in all of this, what do you think that would be?
I think that we just have to focus on what we can control, because there's so much that we cannot control. And I was trying to teach my soccer team this lesson the last couple of weeks, because we have had several games where there has been so much out of our control. And these girls, I love these girls so much, and I am trying to teach them the mindset piece. And that's something that I have been trying to bring home with them, because they have the skills that they are still developing, but they are so skilled. And when they go up on the field and they have these skills and they're doing all these awesome things, but if something goes wrong and they lose the mindset and they start getting frustrated and just get in their heads, everything goes to crap out on the field. And
Yeah.
everyone, it's like a domino effect with one person, and it goes to everyone. And so I've been trying to teach these girls this lesson of, what can you control here? You cannot control the ref. You can't control the other team. You can't control the sideline. You can't control any of these things. You can control you, and you can control how you continue to show up and play. And I think that's all we can do in life when we are faced with challenges. For me, when all these health challenges continue to come, and sometimes it feels like, oh my gosh, is this ever going to end? When those come, sometimes it's really easy to blame. It's because of this, or it's because of this, because these things keep happening. Or I could say that I have total control over my attitude today. I have
Yeah.
total control how I show up as a mom today. And no matter if I'm in pain, no matter if there's other things going on, my attitude is always in my control. And the way I show up as a parent, as a wife, as a business owner, those things are still in my control. And if I give up my power to pain or to anything else, that's giving up way too much of my power. And I feel like I've been doing that too much of my life. When I've gone through challenges, I have given up my power. And I think we deserve to step into our power. We do have
Yeah.
control over a lot of these aspects of our life, and we need to take ownership of what is in our control and absolutely show up as our best selves as we can. I think that what you focus on will manifest. My parents, this lesson was taught to me at a very young age. We were walking by the docks. I think it's SeaWorld. We were walking on the docks and my parents were saying to us, "Hey, don't fall in the water. Don't fall in the water. Don't stand too close to the edge. Don't fall in the water." Well, guess where I ended up? Right in the water.
In the water.
I was walking right on the edge and fell right in the water because I'm hearing that in my head. Don't go too close to the edge. Don't fall in the water. Don't go. And those are the things that I'm thinking of instead of stay close to the middle. And I'm not saying that's their fault or anything, but when that's what I'm focusing on,
yeah,
guess what happened? And the very next day they took us to the beach and they're like, "Okay, don't let the waves carry you out. Don't let the waves." And I was like, okay. And guess what? I got tangled in the waves and got taken out and they had to come and save me from the waves. I had a problem with focusing on those things, but I think that we get to choose what we focus on and we get to choose where our energy is headed.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I love that. It's crazy to see sometimes the things that you go through and I'm just baffled and I'm like, how is she even walking? How is she even talking to us
a
right
lot
now?
of the time.
And just to see that, because you still show up and you have your moment and you allow that to just happen. And then you're like, but I've got this. I can control what I can control. And it's just so beautiful to see. And I just think that you're such a huge example of resilience and literally against all odds. So thank you, friend. You are so amazing. And I absolutely love and adore you. And I'm so happy that we get to listen to your story. And I'm just honored to honestly call you one of my best friends and to have you in my life. And I couldn't imagine. I don't want to even imagine life without you in it. So thank you so much. And I'm so grateful for you.
Right back at you, friend.
All right, you guys, I hope you got something out of today and seeing the resilience and learning how to focus on what you can control rather than what you can't. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Peace out. Love your life. Bye.